So additionally to the VitalPBX core application, we also produce additional applications that can expand the functionality and the feature set that VitalPBX has to offer. We have already seen quite a few of them through the different add-ons that we can have in VitalPBX. But we also have a set of applications that we consider external applications because they basically also run on their own. So these applications will first be the Sonata suite of applications, which consists of Sonata Billing, Sonata Recordings, Sonata Stats, and Sonata Switchboard. So right now we're going to be talking about the Sonata Switchboard. So first, let's load it up. So whenever you first install the Sonata applications, all of them will have a wizard that will guide you through the initial installation setup. So every process, I'm just going to show it this once, but because the process within the other Sonata applications is quite similar to this. And it's quite very self-explanatory. So when we first install the Sonata Switchboard, we can see here that we're going to do first the database configuration. So we can enter the database host. Since we are installing on the same server as VitalPBX, we input localhost. If we were installing on a server that is separate to the VitalPBX application, we would enter the host or the IP address for that machine. Then we have database user. So this is the user for our database, and this user, in this case, is root, since we are on the same machine, and the database password will be blank because we are on the same machine. If we were to install VitalPBX on a separate server, we would have to create a new MariaDB user with a password, which we would enter here. But since we're on the same machine, we are already the root user, so there's no need to enter a password as this is blank. So we will go to the next step. Then we have the Pbx configurations, and this one is very easy. Just a description calling Sonata Switchboard and the Pbx, which we're connecting to, VitalPBX. And then we have admin configuration. So here we can configure our admin user. So the admin user here on the Sonata Switchboard is separate and different to the admin user that you have on VitalPBX. So the password does not need to be the same. It can certainly be the same, but sorry, I wasn't typing down. So, but it can also be different. Okay, so now that I have my admin here, I can go ahead and click finish. And now I am inside of Sonata Switchboard. So from here, I can go ahead and log in with the user that I just created. All right, so once it starts up, we now see the first screen here, which we call the default layout. We will take a look into what's layout in just 1 second. But now let me talk to you about what the Sonata Switchboard is about. So the Sonata Switchboard is about real-time monitoring of your PBX. So you can monitor and manage the flow of your calls all in real time. So the way that the Sonata Switchboard is composed is by widgets, which is each one of these squares, and layouts, which is the conjunction of multiple widgets. And in the Sonata Switchboard, with the licensed version, you can create as many layouts with all the widgets that you want. If you do not have a license, you can create only one layout with any widgets that you want. And you can monitor up to 8 extensions. But in this case, since we have it licensed, we see more information. So with all of this, let us create our first layout. So to create a layout or to view any layout that we have available, we can go to the top right hand corner to this little screen icon. And then this displays all the different layouts that we have. Since this is a new install, we only have the default layout. So let's go ahead and click on New. So now we're presented with a blank canvas where we can start adding widgets. And to add a widget, we can come to the lower left-hand corner, click on Add a Widget. Then we select one. And here we have the different widgets available. So just to list them, we have extensions, we have queues, conferences, parking lots, a queue stat summary, queued calls, queue members summary, queue overview, queue calls counter, my extension, my queues, trunks, and queue wallboard. So I will just create a layout that can incorporate the greater quantity of widgets. Remember that when you are creating a layout, you will create a layout that most accommodates to the job that you're trying to perform. So feel free to create your own layouts with the widgets that you prefer. But for the sake of explanation, I am going to be adding all of the different widgets that we have available here in a couple of layouts. So first, I will add the Extensions widget. So here, I can choose which extensions I am going to be monitoring. So I can monitor only specific extensions. So for example, if this were a call center, I would only monitor the extensions that are agents. I wouldn't monitor the extensions that are administrative. But in this case, I'm just going to add them all. Then we have a title. So this will be the title of the widget. We can call it anything we want. Agents, for example, or if depending on the type of extensions that you select, you can call this one accounting. But if you leave it blank, it will just say the name of the widget. So I'm fine with that. So I will leave it blank. Then we have console mode. We will take a look into this in just a second to see what it does. And then we have hide unregistered extensions. So when I check on this, if an extension is not registered, it will not appear on the widget itself. So only the registered extensions will appear. But for the sake of showing the most information, I'm going to leave this unchecked. So now I can go ahead and create the widget. So here is the widget, and widgets you can resize them, you can move them around. So if I had more widgets, they will all shift here, but as you can see, we can go ahead and move the different widgets around. I'm going to leave this right here. Let's I think that I'll have to make it a little bit wider there. This is the slimmest that we can have it for 2 columns then. So here we have all of the different extensions. Now if I go to add widgets once again, I will select another widget. I will go ahead and add as many widgets as we can right now, and then I will go ahead and explain each one of them. Next, we have queues. So here we can monitor multiple queues. In this case, I only have one queue in this system. So I will go ahead and add it. Here we have, again, our friend, the list selection modal that will allow us to drag stuff from left to right. So once again, everything on the left we have available, and everything on the right we have selected. So we go ahead and create this new widget. So this widget displays the list of multiple queues. So I'm just going to make it quite small so we can fit in more widgets. Next, we will select conferences. So here we can monitor and manage our different conferences. I'll go ahead and create. So I'm gonna make this small as well. And then just going to drag it below. Then I'm going to add the parking lots so we can monitor and manage our different parking lots. So I'm going to add them, and I'm going to create this new widget. So I'm going to make this small as well, and I'm going to place it below. So as you can see, the widgets accommodate to a grid, so they are always aligned. Then we have the next widget, which would be queues stats summary. So now we're dwelling into the call center specific widgets. So we're going to be adding this one. So this one is actually a very good size here. Try to see if I can make it smaller. There we go. Since we only have one queue, I'm going to add the next widget, which would be the queued calls. So this widget will show us the queued calls, but as you can see, it's per queue. So if you had multiple queues, you would have to add one widget per queue. Once again, fitting to the idea that you will create your own layout depending on what you want to see. So there you go. We have that. Then let's select queue member summary. So once again, this one is also per queue. So you can view a summary of the different members for this specific queue. So now I'm going to make this this wide. Then I'm going to select the queue overview. So this will allow me to see a overview for my queue. So I'm going to make this smaller. There you go. I think I'll have to make this a little bit taller so it fits even better. And I'm going to make this one just so my OCD doesn't affect me. Then we're going to add the queue skull counter. So here, this one is very interesting, and especially for big call centers that have multiple queues. So I will add my different queues here. So this one will present the queues in a grid with big squares. So this one's very good to put on a big monitor or projector. So the different agents can see the status of the different queues if there are calls waiting in queue. So I can go ahead and create this widget. Gonna make it bigger once again, and I'm gonna make it wide. I'm going to make this one wide as well because I don't think the other widgets will fit in there. So next, we're going to select the my extension. So this one will allow me to manipulate my extension. We will see this in just one moment. So we do not confuse this with a soft phone, as it is not a soft phone. Then we have my queues, so we can monitor the queues that we belong to. I believe I can make it this small. Then we have trunks. I believe that I can almost fit every widget into one screen, since my screen is on the bigger side, on the bigger resolution. So I almost can fit every widget in just one screen. So this is the trunks. Let's see if I can make it smaller. Yeah. So I think that what I can do here is I can make this smaller. So as you can see, you can have fun creating your different widgets. So now I can put that trunks there. Yeah, that's perfect. So I can make this one real wide because I know that the final widget is a wide boy. So I will add the Q Wallboard widget. So it'll this one is per Q as well. So there you go. I somehow made it happen, and I fit every single widget into one layout. So that's no small feat. So I am able to monitor every single one of them and present them to you as well. The order is not the most convenient in terms of flow, but we will be able to go over every one of them. So once you have the layout as you like it, we can now go ahead and save this layout. We're going to give it a name, so I'm going to call this one Magnus Opus because it has everything in it. I'm going to finish. It's going to save the layout into the database. And now I have my layout created. I'm still in edit mode, so I'm still able to move things around and resize everything. But now I can click exit. And we're back to the default layout. But don't worry, to change to the new layout that we created, we can click on that same screen button on the top right and click on the layout that we just created. So now it's going to load this new layout. As you can see, I somehow miraculously made it fit into one screen. Okay, so these are every layout that that Sonata Suite has to offer. So let's take a look into each one of them. So the first layout here that we have is the extensions layout. This extensions layout allows us to monitor the different extensions that we have on the system. So as you can see, since I didn't hide the unregistered extensions, we can all see the ones that are not registered and are represented by this icon that has a line going across them. Then we can see the ones in green are registered. We can also see the D&D state for each extension in the lower right hand corner. And if one of these extensions places a call, so I'm going to and now you can see there that the icon changed to red, meaning that they're busy, and you can see the number that they're calling. Let me call it a number that has that will ring for a longer time. So I'm going to call the 1-555-484-6868. Now send. And you can see now that the phone is ringing. And in a ringing state, the icon turns into a nice orange here. And down here, you can see the number that they are talking with and how long they are talking with that person. And whenever the call frees up, the icon goes and the whole box goes back to normal. So now to show you the other features that we can do with the extensions, let me just make one first configuration under the administrative side of things. So I'm going to assign an extension to this user. So I'm going to go to administration, users, and we will see this in just a moment. I'm just going to assign it real quick so we can see the rest of the features here. So what I'm going to do is come to the administrator user, and I'm going to assign an extension to it. In this case, I'm for demonstrations reason that I will assign the boss, and for some reason the supervisor will be IT admin. So just with that, just so you know what changed in just this moment. So if we come back to Switchboard, so now you can see on the upper right hand corner that under my username I now have the extension that I have assigned. So that allows me to perform the different tasks for the different extensions. So here, if you see on the lower right hand corner, right next to the D&D indicator, the do not disturb indicator. So if I click on this, I have the option to call and send a message. So call, this will create a call between my physical extension of a device that I have registered with the extension that I have assigned with the extension that I'm trying to call to. So if I now go ahead and click on IT admin on the 3 dots, and then I press call, my extension 2000 starts ringing. If we come back to our trusty VitalPBX communicator, we can go ahead and answer. As soon as I answer, the other phone starts ringing. If we come back to the VitalPBX communicator, you can now see that the extension 2000 boss is talking with IT admin. So they are in conversation. Here you can see how long that call has been going. And then if IT admin hangs up, we are now freed the call. So that is a very neat way to start a call just by clicking. Then the send message option is going to send a SIP-based message. So you will need to make sure that the device that you're sending the message to can accept SIP messaging. This is just to send them quick notifications to their devices with regards to any type of information. So you then might have noticed these little icons down here. So what these icons are is if they are members, if the extensions here are members of a queue, they will have this little icon that will tell us if they are logged into the queue or not. So you can actually click on it and log in to log in the this extension. You can click on it again when they are logged in, and you can actually choose to pause them. So you can pause them with a cause. So, and we will see how we can modify these pause causes. So we can have the whichever one we want. So if I choose launch here, we can see now that they are at pause, and we can see an icon on the top right hand corner saying that they are in pause and telling us the exact cause. So I can click on it again, I can unpause, and then I can click on it again and log that agent out. So you can see how this can be a very great tool for supervisors to interact with the different agents. Now, let's say that that agent is on a call. So if I originate a call here, then so I am now originating a call. I just need to press send. There you go. So I started a call towards an external number. So right now I am an administrator, but we will see in a moment how you can give these permissions to a supervisor account. So I can click on this extension. So I click on the 3 dots to give me the options. And then I have various options that are very useful for a supervisor to have. So the supervisor can spy on the extension. So this means that the supervisor will hear the conversation between the agent and the and the client and the customer, the supervisor can spy and whisper. So this way they can listen to the conversation between the agent and the customer, as well as talking directly to the agent itself. Then we have hang up. If the supervisor, if they heard that the agent was not in an actual business call, the supervisor can hang up that call. Then we have barge in. So the supervisor can start basically a conference between the agent, the client, and the supervisor, and they three can be in a single conversation. And whenever you start up one of these options, it will happen the same as if you originated the call. So when we did that example, so if I click on spy, I will get a call. And now I am listening to that conversation between the agent and the customer. In this case, it's just music on hold, just so I can have a call that is constantly going on. But you get the idea. I am listening to this call, and I can listen to both sides. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So I am able to listen to the customer as well, but none of them can actually hear me, and I can go ahead and hang up. And they never knew that the supervisor listened to the call. So the same thing would be with spy and whisper, only that I would be able to speak with the agent there. And hang up, I can go ahead and hang up that call. So now that agent can go back to do something more productive. Okay, so but now what about if I have a call as my user? So let's pretend that I am the agent in this case, so I can dial that number here. So 1-555-789-5555. And then I'm going to call. I'm just going to mute it just so we do not have to hear the music on hold that whole time. So whenever you are on a call, you will have your call down here under my extension, because my extension will portray whatever your extension that you have assigned is doing. So you will see this information down here. You're able to see your ongoing call from this section here. If you click on that call, you will have various options that you can select. So you can transfer that call to another user. You can park that call to a parking lot. You can hang up. And you can request help to your supervisor. So if I click on this, I can then request the mode that the supervisor will join. So they can join in conference mode, or they can join in whisper mode. So conference would be the same as barge in, and whisper would be in just speaking to the agent, and the customer will never know that the supervisor is also part of the call. So this is a very important tool. So agents can also ask for help, not just have the supervisor go over the agents and get involved into the agent's calls. The agents can also request help from the supervisor. So if I were to press request, this will call the extension that I have assigned as a supervisor. But I am not going to ask for help right now, so I can just go ahead and cancel this. And you might have noticed this other option here called a CRM. This option only appears if you're using the Google Chrome browser and you have our pop-up Chrome extension installed. So if you search for Sonata Switchboard or VitalPBX on the Google Chrome plugin store, so you can install the or the extension store, it's called, I believe. You can install this extension that will allow you to have CRM pop-ups. We will see a little bit of what pop-ups are when we look into the communicator. All right, so I can go ahead and hang up from here. I am going to enable the audio on my communicator once again, just in case we ring it one more time. So now I will make very quickly the boss extension, the other agent on this queue, just so I can show you another feature from the My Extension widget. Okay, so when you are part of a queue on My Extension, you will get this new icon, which is 3 dots. You can actually click on it, and then you will have various tools to perform different actions. So you can log in to all of your queues. You can pause with a pause through all of your queues. You can unpause from all of your queues, and you can log out from all of your queues. So if I click log out from here, you will see that since everything here is real time, this button also changed to red, and this button turned gray, meaning that I have logged out of the queue. So I will just log me back in. And then the final and most obvious feature that this My Extension widget presents is the capabilities of dialing numbers directly from here. And whenever you dial a number from here, it'll be the same as when we place the call here. It will ring our device, and then when we answer it, the call is placed. Oh, and one more feature that I forgot to mention from My Extension. We have the calls history. So here we can see the history of the different calls that I had under My Extension. So here I can see how many local calls, incoming calls, outgoing calls, and transit calls. Then we can see the detail. So here we have the date and time from where the call originated to what number. The call type, internal, outgoing, incoming, transit. Then we have duration. So this was the duration of the call. And then the disposition, which means if the call was answered, not answered, if it failed, if it was busy. You will see everything in here. And you can see various entries by the pagination down here. All right, so then I can click close. From that, the next widget would be the queues widget. So with this widget, we can actually see a list of the different queues. And when we click on it, we can see the different agents on that queue. And we can actually interact with these agents. So if I click on that agent, as a supervisor, in this case an administrator or supervisor, we can remove agents from the queues. We can pause agents on queues, can unpause them, and we can add members to the queues. And if you notice, this number over here will tell us the number of agents that are available inside of that queue. So right now it's 2 because we have added 2 agents there. So this is a very nice way to have the ability to manage the different agents within the different queues that we might have available. Next up, we have the queues stat summary. So the queue stat summary, what it allows us to do is that we can see a summary for the last 24 hours of information for our queue. So in this case, we have queue 3100, which is our support queue. We can see the ring strategy, which is round robin ordered. Then we have logged in members. So we have 2 members logged in. Then how many members available? So we have 2 at the moment. But you can see that if I pause one of these members, now the available members is only 1, and if the other member gets into a call, then the available this member is not on a queue call, so it can still get through a call. But the available members there, and then we have we can log them out, log them back in, and now we have the available members in 2. Then we have queued calls. So how many calls are waiting on this queue? So if somebody called to this queue, so I'm going to generate a call to that queue. So I'm going to call from another extension. So now I press send, and then I will enter the queue. You can see now that the queue, it's actually ringing the boss because, the boss is available to take the call. Here you can see the incoming call. But then you can see here that queued calls turned into 1, and you can see a lot of things also happening here around the different widgets. But we will wait for the call to come back to the bus so we can answer it. But this will allow us to see that information. So it'll take just 1 second to get back to our VitalPBX communicator extension. There you go. So I'll go ahead and answer it. Now if I come back, queued calls is back to 0. There you have it. And now if I go ahead and close, you will now see that this other option turned into 1 because we completed 1 call for our queue. We can see how many abandoned calls have happened to our queue. Then we have service level. So the service level will be dependent to the service level that we configured on the queue. So right now my service level is awful because I answered too slow. And I believe I have it under 20 seconds. Then we will have the longest hold time for the calls that are currently on queue. Then we have the hold time for the last 24 hours averaged out. And then we have the talk time averaged out as well. So this is the queue stat summary. Let us see the information for the day. And if you remember, when we set up the queues, we have the ability to reset the statistics. So that means that we can have a cron job run and reset the statistics for the queue, so we can see the information here for the exact amount of time that we want to look at it. So if we want to see everything for today, we can most likely, for example, reset the statistics at midnight. So the next day will just be next day information. Then the next widget, I will come back to these ones in just a moment, but related to queues, we have the queued calls. So if once again I have a call in the queue, you can then see that we have this queued call here, and we can actually interact with it. So we can actually take the call, so we can tend to it ourselves, depending on the extension that we have assigned. Keep in mind that this will take it out of the queue. And then we have the option to transfer the call to some other extension so that they can take care of it. So if we see a queued call that has been there for a while, we can come here and we can actually transfer that that call to somebody else that can take care of it. All right, so this is the queued calls widget, which allows you to interact with the queued calls. Next, we have, I will come back to this one in just a moment. Once again, let's just run down through all of the ones that have to do with queues. So we're just gonna run down like this and then make a hard left, and you get the idea. We're going to talk about first about the ones that have to do with queues. Next, we have the queue member summary. So here we can see a summary of our different members for the queue. So here we can see the member or the agent with their extension number and name. We can then see their status. So their status can be logged in, logged out, or paused. So here, if they are paused, you will see them with a yellow icon here. So I can unpause them. Then you can see if they are in call or not. Then you can see how many calls they have taken. When was their last call? Here I have the time set up very wonky, so that's why it tells us an hour. You will see in just a moment how we can fix time zones here. Then we have a paused reason. So we can see the reason why they are paused. So whenever we select a pause with reason, we can select it. And you can see here that the agent is paused because of lunch. Go ahead and unpause them. Well, I'll pause them back in. I'm just going to do a general pause. So when it is a general pause, you will see that nothing will appear here because there's no reason. Next to it, you see the pause time. So you can see how long have they been in pause. So if they have been in pause for a bit too long, you can log them out, call their attention, or do what management does. So I'm going to unpause them. Then we have calls history. So we can see the history of the different calls for these agents. So if I click here, I am able to see information about the different calls for that specific agent. But right now we're looking at the same calls as ours because we are extension 2000. Let's take a look at 2002. And here you can see the different call logs for the extension 2002. So you're able to see exactly where they have been calling and who have called them. So the queue member summary will allow you to monitor and manage your different members for a specific queue. Then we have the queue overview. So the queue overview will allow us to see the different calls inside of a queue and how they are doing. So here we can see the completed calls, the abandoned calls, what our SLA target is, which we have been very bad at keeping up. Then we have the waiting calls. So here we have more information for our waiting calls. Then we have the longest hold time, logged in members, and available members. So as you can see, it is a much more compact way of seeing the queue stat summary. So you can choose whichever you prefer for your actual layout. If you want to see more queues, you might want to have the queue stat summary. If you're creating a layout for a specific queue, you might want to have the queue overview. Then right next to it, we have the queues calls counter. So here we can manage the different calls that are occurring. And as I mentioned, we have this big boxes that have the queue name and number, the number of calls waiting, and then we also have small details about the abandoned calls and completed calls. So if we have actually have a call, so you will see that it immediately turns green, and it has a big one. So if we have this on a big screen or projector, agents can get their attention and make haste to answer this call. Just going to answer this one, and I'm gonna hang up. So next, so now you can see that it is gone. You can also have, if you have multiple queues, we have had cases where there are more than 50 queues, for example. This queues calls counter will has the ability to rearrange itself. So it can get borderline impossible to have all of the different queues in just a couple of monitors, or the projector space could be quite big. So what we have done is that the widget can rearrange itself. So these boxes, depending on the ones that have the latest ones that had the most recent calls, will go on top. And another feature with this queues call counter, and we will see that in just a moment, is that if we enable sound, whenever we get a new call, a small sound can play back. Then down here we have my queues, so you can have your queues, meaning the queues that your extension belongs to. So here we can see that it is 3100, and you can see your status on that queue, how many calls you have taken, how many calls are waiting on that queue, and your pause time within that queue. So this way, if we give this widget to an agent, they can self-manage and see how well or how bad they are doing. Then the final widget here that has to do with call center and queues is the queues Wallboard. So once again, this is a very nice widget that you can add to a big screen or a projector, so we can see different information for different queues. So you can have multiple widgets that have the different queues, and we can see statistics about them. And as you might have seen throughout this lesson, the max call waiting actually changes color. So if I once again go ahead and make the different calls, so here you can see waiting colors 1, max call waiting, it's rising and rising, and depending on the SLA target, the color will change. So now we're reaching the 20-second mark, and now we can see that it has turned amber. So we have surpassed our SLA target. And if we get to double our SLA target, which we will have in just 1 second, you can see here that it is now red because we are double our SLA target. So this is real bad, and afterwards the caller hangs up. Right next to it, you can see member information, so members can know how many are logged in and how many are available. So once again, if I go ahead and pause a member, you can see that change. Then I will unpause it. And then finally, some brief stats of how many completed and how many abandoned calls, and then your SLA percentage, your service level percentage. All right, so we have 3 more widgets to go. So we have the conference bridge, the conference bridge widget, which will allow you to manage your conference bridges. So if you have people inside of your conference bridge. So now I have added these 2 extensions to the conference room, the 2400 conference room, and you can see them in there. If you want to, you can interact with them, having the right permissions. You can mute the different users, and if you want to, you can even kick users from this conference. There, you heard it. You have been kicked from this conference. So we can easily manage our conference in a visual way. Then we have the trunks widget, which will allow us to see all of the channels that are being used within a trunk. So here in this case, we have a zip trunk here called My Trunk. Right now, there are no calls going through it. But if I place a call,
thank you for calling electronic.
you can then see when there is a call going on. We can see this call from which number they dialed and from which number they come from, and the duration of that call. So if we see a call that has been going for a long time that we are suspicious about, you can actually interact with this and hang up. So you can hang up that call and you can see that we have freed this call. So you can interact with the different trunks. In the case of zip trunks, PJ zip trunks, IX2 trunks, and I believe that custom trunks as well, you cannot see the number of channels that are in there, since those can be a little bit more abstract. But if you have an E1 or FXO trunk, you can actually see the number of channels from the channel groups belonging to that trunk. So you're able to see exactly which channel you're using from each of these trunks. All right, so next up after trunks and our final widget for today is the parking lots widget. So here we can manage the different parking lots that we have selected. So for example, let's have an extension. Call a number. There we have that extension, and then we're going to park the call.
701.
We're just told the parking space that call took. So in this case, it's 701, and you can see it here. It has a P, meaning that it has been parked, and you can actually interact with them. So me being extension 2000, I can even come here, pick up this call. I receive a call, I answer, and I now have picked up that call directly from the Sonata Switchboard interface. So this three modules are a very good way to visualize the different types of calls that you have within different modules inside of VitalPBX. So with that, we have seen every single widget that we can use to create our different layouts. Once again, you wouldn't make a layout that has all of the widgets in them. This was just for demonstrative purposes to show you every single widget. But feel free to create your own layouts however you want them. But now we will go ahead to move to the management side of things for the Sonata Suite Switchboard. So if we come to the menu, we already had a glimpse of this. So first we have then we have the administration. So on the administration, if we come backwards from bottom to top, first we have licensing. So this would be another way that you can add licensing to the application if you purchase an individual license for the add-on. But remember that you can also add it through the add-ons module inside of VitalPBX. Then we have the connection settings. So here you can verify your connection to the PBX. Then we have the general settings for the Sonata Suite Switchboard. So here is where you can modify and customize your different queues, pause, reasons. So you can delete this and add your own. And then you have the contextual menu trigger, so the little three dots, where we can see the different options, or whenever we click on the different objects within a widget, which click we're going to use. So we have between right click and left click. Then we have how we create the different users. So first we have roles. So with roles, we can create the different roles or permissions we're going to give to the different users that we create. So just for the example, let's create a supervisor role. Now we can select a couple of options. So update profile. So users can have their profile where they can change their name, email, profile picture. So every user has their own profile, and here you can select whether or not they can update it. So we're going to update it. Then we have share layouts. So whenever you create a layout as a user, you can actually share a layout that you create with other users. We will see that in just a moment. So I'm going to enable that. Then we have get updates. So similar to VitalPBX, you can check for updates inside of the Sonata Switchboard. So you can enable and disable that for the different users. So we're not going to let the supervisor do that. Then we have layouts creation. So whether or not they can create the different layouts. So yeah, let's enable that to them. And then we have default layout, whether or not we're going to allow them to see the default layout. In this case, I don't think that would be necessary, so we can have that disabled. Next, we have the menu access, so which options of the menu the users with this role can access. So we have the switchboard and the different administration options. In this case, I'm just going to give them access to the switchboard because I don't think the supervisor will ever need to create new users. This would be part of the IT admin job for this workplace. Then we have the switchboard privileges. Okay, so we move to that place. So here we can select which options they can see and which options they can do within the different widgets. So first we have extensions. Here you can select which extensions this user can see. So you can select individual extensions here. Or if you want to give them access to everything within this option, you can just click this little check mark over here. In this case, I just want to give the supervisor access to these sales extensions. Okay. Then we have queues, similar to extensions, which queues we're going to give them access to. We only have one, and the supervisor will usually supervise the different queues, so we can check this. Parking lots, so which parking lots they can see. We're not going to give them any parking lots. There's no reason for the supervisor to see that, in my opinion. You can differ. Then we have conferences, so which conferences the user can see. In this case, I will leave them none. Then trunks, the supervisor has no need to modify or view any trunk. So we're not going to let them see that. Then we have the widget actions. So here we can select which actions the users can take within the different widgets. So for extensions, we got originate call, spy with whisper, hang up, pickup call, blind transfer, attended transfer, barge in, and send a message. So I think that the supervisor has need of most of these. Well, I think all of them. All right, so I'm just going to allow them to do all of those actions with regards to extensions. So once again, this would mostly affect through the Extensions widget. Then we have queue actions. So which actions the supervisor can take over different queue options. So remove member, pause on pause, a member, and add member. I believe that this is one of the main jobs for the supervisor, so I'm going to select all of them. Then we have parking actions. We don't even give them access to parking lots, so I'm not going to select this, but here you can see that the supervisor would be able, the user would be able to unpark if I gave them access to this. Then we have conference actions. So the actions that we can take over conference bridges. So here we can kick and unmute. We are not even giving them access to conference bridges, so we are not going to do anything. Queued calls actions. So if we select that, we can see we can take calls and we can transfer calls. So I do believe that this is one of the main jobs for the supervisor, so I'm going to allow all of it. And then finally, we have trunk actions. So here we can select the actions that they can do over trunks. We are not even giving them access to trunks, so I'm not going to select any of this. So with all of this created, we can go ahead and click Save. And to save this role, so we can use it on the different users that we can create. There you go. It is saved, and this information has been saved successfully. In Sonata Switchboard, there's never a need to apply changes, just for your information. Now, if we come back to the navigation menu, the last option we got is users. So here is where we can create the different users. So let's create a supervisor. So their name is going to be Juniper Johnson. Their username will be J Johnson. Then the password will be my password. The same here, we repeat it. Then we have the role. So here we can select the role. You can see that we have some additional roles here. So we have the administrator, which will be a super administrator that can manage everything. Then we have tenant administrator. So we specify that this is going to be an administrator for a specific tenant, because Sonata Switchboard is actually multi-tenant capable. So you can create users and assign them to a specific tenant. And if you create a tenant administrator, that tenant administrator can create their own users, but for their tenant only. Okay, so I'm just making a supervisor here for the moment. So I'm just going to select this supervisor role that I created. Then we have layout. So which is going to be the main layout whenever they log in. As of this moment, it's default because we have not shared a layout with this user. We will be able to change that in just a moment. Then we have tenant, as I mentioned. The Sonata Switchboard is multi-tenant capable, so you can assign a tenant to these users. We will be talking more about multi-tenancy later on. So don't worry if you're confused about what I'm talking about when I speak about multi-tenant. Then we have assigned extension. So you saw me do this earlier. So this is the extension that we're going to assign to this user. Let's just say that this user is sales 2200. The supervisor extension, this would be the extension assigned as the supervisor, so they can ask for help. Since this is the supervisor itself, they are not going to ask for help to anybody else. So we're going to leave this in none. Then we can add their email, jjohnson@vitalpbx.com. Then we have time zone. So if you remember, we had a little bit of wonky issues with time zones. So here you can actually change the time zone that the user is having. So you can change it to anything for that user. We can actually, I believe we can actually type in. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So I can type in New York to get Eastern time. And then we can select the language. So this will be the language for the application. So we can select between English, Spanish, French, and Hebrew. So if you want other languages to be available, you can contact us and we can tell you how you can help us translate the Sonata Switchboard. So I'm just going to leave this in English right now. Then we have a queues sound notification. So if you remember when I was talking about the queues calls widget, so here we can see the option of enabling sound. So whenever there's a new call, a sound will play back. This can also alert the different agents so they can listen to a sound and they will know that a new call has entered a queue. So you can enable that if you want to. And then the final option here is to activate or deactivate an account. So you can choose to activate it or deactivate it. And in this case, we're going to leave it active. So this option allows you to temporarily disable an account instead of deleting it completely if you want to evade a user from logging into the system. So now that we have everything here as we want it, we can go ahead and click Save. There you go. The information has been saved successfully. And we now have another user that we can use to log into the Sonata Switchboard. Just one final thing before we cut this lesson up. Just remember that I told you that we can share the different layouts. So whenever you create a layout, when you come back to the little TV screen here on the top right hand corner, where you see the list of layouts, whenever you have a layout that you have created, you have more options beneath the layouts. So you have the ability to edit. So you can edit the current layout. You can unshare the layout as well. You can also create a new one. We already saw that. And you can select to delete the layout. So right now I'm going to unshare it. So basically just share it because I haven't shared it with anybody else. So now I have Juniper Johnson here, and we can share once again. Things on the right are selected. Things on the left are available to be selected. So now I have selected Juniper Johnson, and I can go ahead and share. And you can see here that the layout has been shared successfully. So now Juniper will be able to see this exact layout that we have shared to them. So, and also if we come back here to administration and then users, and then we come to the user that we created. Remember that we didn't allow this user to see the default layout. You will see that the layout they will see by whenever they log in, the preferred layout for them, so to speak. You will see that it is the layout that we selected, that we shared with them at this moment. If they have other layouts that they have created, they will also appear on this list. Okay, so this is the Sonata Suite Switchboard. You saw every single feature about it, and how to configure it and add them to the options. Let me see if I am not missing something. I believe so. There's just one more thing with the extensions. Sometimes you do not want the Sonata Suite Switchboard just for call centers. You might also want it for enterprise situations. Let's say a receptionist that wants to visually see the availability of different extensions. So instead of showing them exactly who they're speaking with when they are busy, you can actually change the way that you look at the extensions. So if we come to edit this layout, and we then come to edit this widget, there was this option called console mode. So when we turn console mode on, we will then click on create once again to recreate this widget. We now see that this significantly reduces the size of the widget. We can even make this smaller and move some widgets around. So we can have a different look at everything, and we can stretch this out. You get the idea. You get the idea of what all of this allows us to do. I'm even going to close this one, as we're not going to be using them. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm just cleaning this up. I'm going to update, finish. It's no longer a Magnus Opus because we no longer have all of the widgets in here. But what are we gonna do? This is the end of this lesson. Just wanted to show you this new view for the extensions widget. So now you can see that this is significantly reduced. We can still interact with them if we click on them. So that's not lost. But now whenever one of them places a call, so they simply just turn red instead of green, and we do not necessarily know with who or where they are talking with. We are just visualizing that they are busy at that moment, so we can interact with them. Right now, since I have administration powers, I am able to hang up that call still. But for a reception case, this can be a very nice view for them to have of the different extensions in the company. And with all of that explained, we have now seen everything inside of the Sonata Suite switchboard. So you can see how powerful this application can get in terms of managing and monitoring your different calls within your VitalPBX.